These, since these are a cupcake, they might not fit into a regular size mug. So you want an extra big mug for your cocoa, which I know that's so disappointing to get a really big mug of hot cocoa. Hello everyone, it is Melissa Lloyd with the Valley City Barnes County Public Library, and today we have a take and make kit for hot cocoa cupcake bombs. Now these are different than those round circular bombs that everyone is like, oh, I have to get one. Mainly because I wanted to create a kit for kids for the library that would be simple and easy to do and wouldn't require too much special equipment, because if you're going to do the round cupcake, round chocolate bombs, you have to buy a round mold. And some of the programming things I follow, they said to use one of those plastic ornament things that you fill, and I didn't like that because first off, I worried that that would be too difficult for some kids to get them out of the mold, to get the chocolate out of the mold. The other thing is I wasn't sure if that was food grade safe, and so I was really racking my brain to come up with something that I thought would be a little bit more friendlier to use for kids, because this is for kids and teens. So I mean, parents can definitely do this, but this is definitely for kids and teens. But also something that I wouldn't have to buy special equipment for, because candy making, is fun, but if you have to buy a lot of equipment, buy special things for it, unless you're doing it in a more massive scale, can be kind of expensive. What I did think of was, I happen to have in my kitchen these silicone cupcake muffin liners, and these are super great because you can buy a bunch of them, and most food and kitchen stores have them, and you get a lot of them, so you could make a lot of them. So and they can go from the freezer to the oven, so they're really versatile, and I wouldn't have to buy any special equipment. So these silicone cupcake liners will do, that's what we're making today, is this hot cocoa cupcake bombs. Yeah, so this is, you can use paper ones, but the problem with the paper ones is they don't, and I did try this, they don't hold their shape as well when you're doing the chocolate. And when you're, after you've after you've got the chocolate set, they're harder to peel off. These, you literally just kind of pop right out. And I will show you how I do that. So what you get in your kit, so if you want to do a hot cocoa cupcake bomb, call the library at 845-3821, and in your kit you will get a silicone cupcake liner, some chocolate chips and some white chocolate chips, and then a thing of hot cocoa. And that's really pretty much all you need for a basic bomb. Basic bomb, that's funny. Other things you will need is a microwave safe bowl or measuring cup, whatever works for you. You're definitely gonna need a spoon, and you might need a knife. And then things you might wanna have is some sprinkles to decorate your cupcake bomb. Another thing is, you might, when you're melting your chocolate chips, you might want to put some coconut oil in there, just like not even a half teaspoon, because coconut oil is solid at room temperature, but when it melts into the chocolate, when you put it in the fridge or the freezer to let it set up, it hardens, and it hardens a lot more better. And it's got a low melting point, so you don't even taste it in the chocolate. It's just a suggestion. I do it, but because we're using chocolate chips that have already been tempered, it's not too much of an issue. So first things first, you're going to take your chocolate chips and you're going to put it in your microwave safe bowl. And then you're going to let those nuke or microwave them for 30 seconds. So while I'm doing that, I'm going to show you how we're going to make the top of our molds. So what you do is you take a piece of wax paper, or you could use tin foil or parchment paper, anything like that. And you're going to take your liner and you're going to place it down on the wax paper. And then I'm using a pen, but you can use a pencil, and you're going to trace kind of an outline, and it doesn't need to be a perfect circle, just a general outline. Then I'm gonna flip it over because I don't want to, you know, get marker on my food or in my food, because that's not cool. All right, so I'm gonna check my chocolate chips, stir them up. So this takes anywhere from, I don't know, 30 seconds to a minute. Obviously, they're still not quite melty, so we'll have to stick them in there. Probably only stick them in there for another 15 seconds as opposed to 30. Microwave oven temperatures will vary. All right, so I have my circle that I have here, and I just microwaved more of my chocolate chips. And they're still not quite melty, so I think I am gonna put them in for another 10 seconds. Yeah, I want them to be just, the consistency I'm looking for is a little bit runnier than that. As you can see, it kind of it has ribbons when it falls off. And that's pretty close to what I'm looking for, but it's not quite there. So I'm gonna microwave that for 10 seconds. And it does get a little messy, this project, so, but that's okay. All right, so. All right, so it's been 10 seconds. And so that looks really, really good. I think that's what I'm looking for. And so what you're going to do now is you're going to start by taking your cupcake liner, and you just take a big spoonful and you drop it in. And then you just I use the back of the spoon, and you just start taking the back of the spoon and just coating the sides. And then if you need more, you just take more. Oops. Oh, and I made a huge mess. That's what I do, that's okay. Messes, chocolate cleans up pretty easily, right? Yeah, not a big deal. All right. So you're basically just painting the walls and bottom of your cupcake. Now, I'm gonna set that aside, and I'm going to do almost the same thing with my circle. I'm gonna take a spoonful of chocolate and just drop it right there in the center. And I might do a couple. And then I'm going to take my spoon and just kind of smush it around. Basically, I'm making a big chocolate disc. And it can be bigger than the circle, it doesn't matter, and you can see it's a pretty thick disc. That's what I'm looking for, is a thick disc, because I want this to be pretty solid. So, all right. So now I have my disc and my cupcake full of chocolate. So now what I'm gonna do is stick this in the fridge or the freezer for 5 to 10 minutes and let them set up. Okay, it's been several minutes, and so my chocolate has hardened, and I will show you how it looks. So what you're looking for is, if you look at this, you know this is chocolate. It is not hard, it's glossy. It's got a real glossy texture to it. Whereas this is all hardened, there's no glossiness to it. It's pretty solid and thick, and it's got a noise to it. So now what I'm going to look for is, I'm gonna look around the edges and make sure, you notice how it's like super thin, maybe right here, or right here I can see just a little bit of, almost like, I don't wanna say daylight, but it's thin enough right there. I'm trying to get a really good, okay. It's thin enough right there that if I put my hand behind it, there, you can see that the chocolate is not super thick right there. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to melt more chocolate. Oops. I keep trying to microwave my spoon, which is not a good idea. Kids, don't microwave metal in the microwave. It's not a good plan. The other thing I'm gonna look for is at my disc, if that's super thick. That's not too thick. I think I'm gonna add additional layers in there as well. So we're waiting for the microwave to melt some more chocolate chips, and then we're going to just do what we did before. And stir them up. Yep. And again, they need a little more time. Give them another 10 seconds. All right, yes, nice and smooth, perfect for what we're doing. Nice ribbons, yep. All right, so again, just gonna take a spoonful and put it in there. And you don't probably need nearly as much as you did last time, but then you're just gonna go around the edge again. And make sure you get that once, make sure you get all the, especially around the edge at the very top, it tends to get really thin there. And so you really wanna make sure you're getting that real good. Because you wanna have, you know, a nice thick base for your cupcake bomb. So there's that. And again, we're gonna add a little bit more to our disc. Just drop it all right on top there. And again, we'll just spread it out. Now, so if you don't want to do a flat top, what you can do is, once this is done, you can make another one of these and then put them, oops, yeah, don't do that. Don't do that. I think maybe we'll edit that out. Maybe we won't. You can take and make another one of these, and then you can put them together so that they make sort of a double cupcake type bomb. All right, so again, we're gonna stick these in the fridge or the freezer for 5 to 10 minutes and let them set up. All right, so second round, this is a lot more solid and a lot more thicker, and so is our top. So now comes the tricky bit. We gotta get the chocolate out of the mold. And so this requires kind of just peeling it away, and you gotta be careful not to break it. Right, and then it just peels right out. See, that's why having the silicone liner makes such a big difference, because if this were a hard piece of plastic, then it'd be a lot more difficult. So that's why I think this is such a fantastic thing. And then the same thing with the disc. There you go, that popped right off. And you can test that obviously it's gonna be bigger, but this is what it's going to generally look like. So now we get to worry about fillings. And this is where you get to have fun. A part of the kit we included was a bag of cocoa. So what you do is you open that up, and pour that in. And it fits perfectly. This cocoa doesn't have mini marshmallows in it, but the cocoa that we in your kits do. So your kit will have mini marshmallows. Now, maybe you're not a a hot cocoa fan. Maybe you could substitute this with like a malted mix. So you could put malt in there and you'd have like a nice hot chocolate malt. The other thing you could do is you could add like Nutella, marshmallows, anything you want. So now, next thing you're gonna do is, I'm trying to decide if I like it this way or this way. Both ways look really good. I kind of like it this way. It kind of gives it a more of a cupcakey look to it. So what you're gonna do now is you're gonna take your melted chocolate and just run it right along the edge here. I'm trying not to get too much chocolate on my hands, and I'm not really being super successful, but that's okay. All right, so I've made like a chocolate thing, and I'm gonna pop it right on there. And I'm just gonna lightly press it down. Oh, yep, I've got a little crevice there, so I'm gonna take my knife for that. Ooh. And then I'm just gonna fill in that hole. Because you don't want it to leak, right? You want that hot chocolate, you want that cocoa powder to stay in there. Okay, so I don't think I have any more gaps. Spin it around, nothing's leaking out. So now what you want to do is you're probably going to set that in the fridge again to let that set one more time. And then, so we're going to set that in the fridge again for another couple of minutes. It shouldn't take very long. Okay, so now your hot chocolate cupcake bomb should be all set up. This is all good. Yep, all right. So that's a solid piece of chocolate cupcake right there. Now comes the really fun part, to decorate it. So to decorate it, I'm gonna use my white chocolate chips. And I have some red and green sprinkles. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to put, I think I'm just gonna, well, no, I'm not gonna do that. Oops. So I've got red and green sprinkles. I melted some white chocolate chips. we've got the white chocolate all melted now. So now I'm gonna take it and I'm just going to drip it, let it drizzle it kind of back and forth. It doesn't need to be perfect. Okay. Then I think I'm gonna just take some green. And then some red. Yeah. I don't think I need to do much more than that. That looks pretty great, doesn't it? All right, so you wanna let that chocolate set again. Just leave it alone, so stick it in the fridge and then leave it alone for a couple more minutes and that white chocolate will set and it will be ready to drink. Word of warning, these, since these are a cupcake, they might not fit into a regular size mug. So you want an extra big mug for your cocoa, which I know that's so disappointing to get a really big mug of hot cocoa. So that has been the library's take and make for hot cocoa cupcake bombs. I hope you enjoyed doing this craft. It's a lot of fun. If you need a kit, that's what I'm trying to say. If you need a kit, call the library at 845-3821 and we'll be more than happy to set you up. So yeah, you almost want to take a bite out of it because it looks super good. I'm not gonna do that because even though it looks good, I bet you it would be just awful just to take a big bite out of it. Ugh. But yeah. And if you do make your cupcake bomb, send a picture to the library, post it on our Facebook, on our Instagram. We love getting pictures of what you guys are creating. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to call. Again, the number is 845-3821. And I hope you guys have a great hot cocoa evening.